was fired because she received allegedly a $10,000 tip. Now, we're going to see what really happens.
A waitress in Michigan was fired after receiving a $10,000 tip. Let's talk about it. This is solely for educational purposes, no hate to anyone involved. What's your favorite type of food to eat? A restaurant in Michigan called the Mason Jar had something absolutely amazing happen to them. A man came into the restaurant, had a $30 bill, and at the end of his bill, he asked for the manager. The manager claims, because we don't know who the man is, that the man gave a $10,000 tip, and the only ask he had for the server was to share it with the staff. Now, it's unknown if this meant the waitresses and waiters that all work at the restaurant or just this day, and if it meant the rest of the employees in the restaurant, it's unknown. It's also unknown if he actually said this, because again, we don't know who this man is. But this is what the bill looked like. The restaurant was super happy and posted this post, basically thanking the server, and it went viral. The waitress who had originally received the tip also had a post made about her on the gram about how amazing she was, which has now disappeared. Shortly after all of this happened, there were tons of articles written, and the other waitresses who received part of the money were really happy. But it seems as though the people who were not working that day felt as though they were wronged and deserved part of the cash. Go to part 2.
Walk us through that day. I understand you weren't the server, but when did everybody find out that he had just left? The tip of a lifetime.
The server that was serving him walked up to all of us in a different room and showed us the tip, and we were all shocked, obviously.
There was 8 of us working on staff that day, so we each ended up getting about $1,200.
Okay, I already think this is kind of weird because it seems like the people who weren't even working felt some sort of entitlement to the tip. Did I get that right?
Personally, I'm taking my kids on a spring break vacation with that money. Something we weren't going to be able to do, but I'm really excited to be able to do with them now.
For those that are working hard in this industry, every dollar counts. And I think it's important for all to know that whether it be a small gift or in this scenario, a large gift, a little bit goes a long way, and to always, pay it forward to those that are deserving.
This is part 2 of talking about the waitress that was fired in Michigan after receiving a $10,000 tip. Solely for educational purposes, no hate to anyone involved. Are you wearing any makeup today? In a now deleted Facebook post, the waitress who received the $10,000 tip talked about her being fired. She started off by thanking everyone and saying basically that this was a curse. After the tip was left, there was drama in the restaurant, and it felt as though other employees were upset that they didn't receive a cut of this $10,000 tip. And instead of management protecting her, she alleges that they texted her on Sunday asking her to take Monday off for everything to settle down. She asked that night if she was being fired, and they didn't respond. So she waited till Monday, called again, no response, and texted them on Tuesday, no response. Then she received a call that she was fired, and for the first time since she was 15 years old, she had no job. And like she says, 1 week she was such an amazing and hardworking employee, awesome mother, and then she didn't have a job anymore. Now, there are rumors in this small town that she actually shared this tip out of the kindness of her heart and not because the guy asked. That allegedly was started by the owner of the restaurant, not by the guy. And again, that's just rumors. Go to part 3 to see how the restaurant responded. Part 3 of talking about the restaurant that fired their employee after receiving a $10,000 tip. This is solely for educational purposes, no hate to anyone involved. Do you have your nails painted? So the restaurant responded to the situation and basically claimed that they could not disclose why she was fired, alleging that these are labor laws, which, there's a fine line on this. They claimed that it had nothing to do with the tip and that she received the entire tip, but she did not pay taxes on it, the business did, which is not necessarily...
Okay, I thought she split the tip. So this is already like... So did she end up, it sounds like she ended up giving the money away, splitting it however they said that they wanted it dispersed, and then she still got heat for it?
True, because if she receives income as a tip, then she has to disclose taxes on it. They wouldn't pay for that. And then again, they claimed that she shared the tip at the request of the man that left it. They went on to say that they care about their staff and they've had people who have been there for years, and that it was not a decision made hastily or lightly. Now, people in this comment section are very upset. Michigan is an at-will state, which basically means that they don't need cause to fire you if you're a employee of a company. Now, there are different rules on this based on contracts and whatever, but in a situation like this, they don't really necessarily need a reason to fire you. They can't fire you based off discrimination and all of that, but don't need like a specific reason. But a lot of people truly believe that this is because of the tip, the drama that ensued about people not receiving part of that tip, and that they had to pay some sort of taxes on it. But what are your thoughts?
For a waitress who received a $10,000 tip
Let
on
me
a
see what
$32
else they
check.
say.
Well, tonight, a sad footnote to that upbeat story. Earlier this week, waitress Lindsay Boyd was fired by her employers at the Mason Jar Cafe. George Mallet went up to Benton Harbor to find out what happened and joins us now with what he's learned. George.
Terry, Melissa, there are frankly more questions than answers emerging from this Mason Jar mystery. There is a ton of spouting off on social media, but nobody's going on camera to talk about what happened. When our Erica Jimenez visited the Mason Jar Cafe in Benton Harbor on Friday, there was every indication she was covering an unflagging feel-good story. After all, a customer who just attended a late friend's memorial service had chosen to leave a $10,000 tip to remember his friend. That anonymous customer asked his waitress, Lindsay Boyd, to share the windfall with her coworkers, which she did.
We're all super grateful for it. I've worked here 6 years and I've seen big tips, but I've never seen $10,000. So that was really kind and nice of him to do that.
That was Friday. Early this week, word broke on social media that Lindsay had been unceremoniously canned by the owners of the Mason Jar Cafe. Those social media posts alluded to a wave of toxicity among the wait staff in the wake of the outsized tip. WNDU was unable to confirm that alleged toxicity. I talked to co-owner Jamie Cousins off camera. She said she was limited in what she could say because this is a personnel matter. She did, however, confirm that she fired Lindsay Boyd. She was adamant, though, that the firing had absolutely nothing to do with the tip, nor, she said, did it have anything to do with what followed the tip. The flap doesn't appear to have hurt business at the Mason Jar Cafe. Late this morning, the parking lot was full and guests were inside waiting to be seated. I tracked down Lindsay Boyd, who emailed me late this morning, telling me she, quote, drove out of town this morning to spend time with family and get away. She went on to say it has been a pretty rough week. We also went out to Baroda, Michigan, and spoke with Lindsay's former husband, Nathan Huff, who describes Lindsay as a great mom who is very upset right now and just taking some time away.
Interesting.
For one, the way that just ended just kind of threw me off. Why did they contact her ex-husband? Was I the only one that caught ex-husband? Anyway, I know they want to get the scoop, but dang, I just feel like if you can't get her and you couldn't talk to any of the staff there, like, we don't know what their relationship is. Like, that was kind of messy, but it sounded a little shady because you've been working there all this time and now all of a sudden you get this tip, you split it. It's probably some sort of hoopla in the background where people probably getting greedy and wanted some probably more tip. And I think they just had to let her go to avoid any drama. But it's really unfortunate because that tip was a big blessing. And as you can see, it was able to bless one of the other waitresses so she can go ahead and take her children somewhere for the summer. But it's still a sad story all the way because now she is without a job. The whole thing is just really sad, all because of money.